It seems to me that it's very tempting to justify our own behavior. In investing, they have this saying, eat well or sleep well, that any improvement that you make to your investing returns, that you make more money, generally comes with more stress. Right? You're making more decisions, you're watching the markets more closely. So there's a real luxury to being hands-off, to sleeping well, but that luxury comes at the cost, is you're probably not on it as much, right? You're not as on top of things. So that's one of the key trade-offs, is like, all right, you can't be completely passive about anything. So any level of being active is going to bring some level of stress, anxiety, and effort. So a lot of the temptation in psychology, we call this status quo bias, is, hey, everything that I'm doing right now is pretty great. I'm just going to keep on doing that. And I see this a lot when I lead workshops around a quarterly or annual review, where people's goals tend to be, I'm going to do exactly all the things that I was just doing plus 20%. So all those things I was going to do, I'm going to put up, 20% more pounds on the bench press. I'm going to write 20% more articles. I'm going to sell 20% more packages. And, well, okay, great. Like, where are all those 20% going to come from? Like, what are the things that you're no longer doing? This is this same but more tendency. And so a better way that I think about doing is I'll use another investment analogy. Imagine that you sold all of your investments and now you're just sitting on a pile of cash. Or all of your commitments, all of your job, your classes, all the things you're doing, you're no longer doing. You look at your calendar and it's completely open for the next year. Okay, what do you do at that time? Is our bias is to justify the things that we're already doing. Let's okay, I'm just gonna keep on doing more than that. But it's realization, you could do anything. What do you do with that? I think is a much better place to operate from, because naturally, just to, sleep well, we tell ourselves, hey, what I'm doing is great. But we get all our identity tied up in all right, if I'm being successful, then I'm a success. If I'm doing really well, then I'm a good person. I'm happy, all those types of things. Versus I am separate from what I do. I am not what I do. Given that I am separate, what do I choose to do? I think this separation of identity is real important, to be able to take an objective look at ourselves and say, what are the things that I'm doing right now? What are the things that are happening that I think could be going better? What are some actions that I could take? It doesn't mean that I'm not doing well. I'm doing great. But here's some ways that things be going even better. I think that this it's a real hack for objectivity. Another way is to imagine that you're giving advice to a friend, and the friend is in the exact situation that you're in. What's the obvious advice that you would tell your friend? It's very easy to see from the outside, but if you try to give that advice to yourself, it's well, I already tried that, or I can't do that. It's well, what would you tell a friend? There's all of these ways to just be a little bit more objective about what we're doing. And this is big for me, as I'm always trying to correct for my natural bias. Another one that I like a lot is fear is a compass. So if I'm between two options, always do the thing that's scarier, because naturally I'm going to shy away from the thing that I'm afraid of. So if I think I should do it, but I'm not sure and it's really scary, then I should definitely do it. And all this type of stuff is just coming through this planning, experimentation, reflecting process of what are the things that I've learned? How am I going to, when I'm facing this type of decision in the future, how do I want to make this decision? As everything echoes out into eternity, I'm thinking about, what's my process going to be? How can I improve this process for the future?
Hey friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, then click here for the full unedited episode. And if you like that, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. It means a lot. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.